It's fall in my part of the world in the foothills of the Appalachians, and our roads, guys, are busier than usual as people drive up from the city to see God's artistry on full display in the trees. They pick apples from branches that are just so heavy with fruit and bite into the sweetness of apple cider donuts. And they find rest. After the harvest and the leaves all fall, the trees find rest too. During winter, we can't see what God is doing to the trees like we can during fall, but we trust He is strengthening their roots and preparing them for spring. Nature needs time to rest and retreat to its roots. We don't need to see God working beneath the surface to know that He will bring the ground to flower in the spring. Instead, we remember from experience how winter makes way for spring every single year. We recognize God's glory in nature's display of our seasons, spring, summer, fall, even winter. We can find His goodness and faithfulness in the cycle of it all. But what about in our own lives? Why do we seem to easily accept the cycles of retreating and resting and blooming and growing and harvesting in the Lord's creation of nature, but we struggle to see the application in His creation of us, especially in a season where nothing seems to be growing? I don't know the season you find yourself in right now. I do know that God walks us all through winter seasons at some time. And we can take steps to prepare our hearts and minds to experience a winter rest right now. But maybe you're asking, how can the spiritual practice of rest stop you from feeling worried or abandoned or lost or hopeless when you can't see what God is doing beneath the surface and out of sight in your life? Well, it's the same thing you do automatically with the cycles of nature. You remember from experience. Living from a place of rest during winter means looking backward and remembering all that God has done for you in the past and trusting Him with your future. It means resting in confidence that He is always at work in your life. Even if you can't see how He is preparing a way, you can trust that He is. Throughout the Bible, God is constantly telling His children, us, to remember, to write down what He has done, to talk about it with your children, with the next generation. God knows that our minds are forgetful and they become dull to the memories of His deliverance in the past, especially when our lives seem to be going well. It's hard to remember just how cold and dark winter can be when you're out walking in the sunshine of summer or the bountiful harvest of fall. But the memories of God's faithfulness can bring comfort during winter. Prepare yourself for winter by taking time to write down how God delivered you in the past. And if you can't think of your own stories, read through Exodus. The same God who rescued the Israelites time and time again and led them to a place of rest is the same God who wants to lead you today. God is always leading us towards rest. I love how Song of Songs in 2:11 says this: "See, the winter is past. The rains are over and gone. Flowers appear on the earth. The season of singing has come." I don't know what season you find yourself in. I do know that God is at work, whether you can see it or not. Look at the trees and imagine how much more glorious His plans are for you. You too can abide in His truth that the season of singing will come when you find yourself in winter.